Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Now, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. I get it. Okay. Not all days are awesome, right? Some days can just suck, not all days are created equal. And sometimes you have hard days. And so I get that. Here's the thing. Even on those hard days, there is always, always hope. Always hope. So if you're struggling with that and you don't believe me and you go, Jeff, I don't think so. I lost my hope a long time ago. I don't know what you're talking about. I want you to email me right here, jeff@hydrowithhope.com. That's actually my email at our nonprofit, which is Hydro with Hope, which I'll talk to you about in a second. Just shoot me an email. Just put hope in the subject line. You don't even have to tell me what's going on. Just put hope in the subject line. I will shoot you back an email with my calendar link because I want to talk to you, because nobody should be without hope. Nobody. So that's when bad things happen. So hope is a beautiful thing. So, all right, that's what I wanted to say about that. And now, I just want to touch on a couple things real quick with our sponsors, because we have amazing sponsors around here, and I want to talk about them because they're awesome. So, oh, by the way, no matter where you're watching from, thank you for being here. If you're on, and by the way, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, bonus, you get to interact with us. You can comment, like if me or my guest today say something that you're like, what? I've never heard that. You're crazy. Or you want to like, yeah, I totally agree, or whatever, we're talking about something, just whatever you want to say, comment it and we'll get back with you and we can interact and all kinds of good stuff. So just wherever you're watching, join in the party. And so I want to talk to you about, our nonprofit side of the show, which is called Hydro with Hope. So I was born with a condition called hydrocephalus, and I called the nonprofit Hydro with Hope on purpose. Hydrocephalus is a mouthful, and I didn't want to have to say that every time. So we are here at Hydro with Hope to walk beside you as a family if you are dealing with the crazy that comes with having hydrocephalus. Now, that can usually does require and include brain surgery. I'm 7 brain surgeries in at this moment. My first brain surgery was at 2 weeks old, and my last one was in 2021. So it's been interesting. I'm just going to say it that way. So all the whole time, support is important. And so one of the things that we have created for that support is a journal called My Hydro Warrior Story. I want to get this in the hands of everybody who wants it and needs it. This is a fill-in-the-blank journal that you can use while you're in the hospital and just, write everything down, fill in all the blanks. There's even places in there like prompts and places you can post pictures, like your crazy post-surgery flock of seagulls hair and all the things, right? So use this book. And then when you go to the follow-up with your neurosurgeon, you've got all your questions written down. You've got stuff to talk about, instead of, because, when you go to the follow-up, your brain falls out of your head and you forget what you were going to say. And then when you're driving home, you go, that's what I was going to say. Write it down. And then you won't do that. My wife and I also like to speak and spread hope anywhere we can. So if you have an event coming up that you think that your audience would benefit from our story, man, I'd love to talk to you. So just, and this is, by the way, this is a donation link for the nonprofit. So you can donate monthly or one time. We appreciate you either way. We love you no matter what. One last thing I want to talk about is Network Referral Group, or NRG, which you saw at the very beginning of the show. Very cool animated thing that said live from NRG Studios. That is a networking group that sponsored my studio that I absolutely adore. This group, I tell you what, if you are a networker and you like building your business that way, this is the purest form of networking I've ever seen. This is the source of never-ending referrals. And honestly, this group has ruined me for almost all other networking. I mean, there's a few good ones out there, But man, you come to NRG and like I overflow every week with referrals now. So if you are a business owner that aspires to that, scan the QR code. Tell Mike, who runs NRG, that you saw me on the show, and I told you to talk to Mike, and he'll get you squared away to come check it out. So, all right, that's enough of that. All right, today's guest. Here we go. Today's guest is someone who has turned her personal battle with cancer into a mission of advocacy, empowerment, and real human connection. Joining us is Deb Krier, and like she's the founder of, let's see, TryingNotToDie.LIVE. I love that address. YourCancerCoach.LIVE, or is it live? We'll get there. A strategic advisor. She's a strategic advisor who helps executives and business leaders navigate the emotional, personal, and professional challenges that come with cancer. Because even C-suite executives get cancer. I know. I'm shocked too. It's true. So she was diagnosed with stage 4 triple positive breast cancer in 2015, excuse me. And she's rewriting what it means to truly live while facing cancer. And so she's doing it with all kinds of stuff. And her program is amazing. She's working with so many people and doing an amazing job. I can't wait for you to meet her. Let's just bring her on. That's enough of this nonsense. Come on, let's do it. All right, there we go. Deb, thank you for being here. This is
Oh my gosh, we are going to have so much fun, and I am so honored to be part of your program. This is just incredible. Your message is incredible. I was sitting backstage going, wow, wow, wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, coming from you, that means a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This woman is no stranger to media, by the way, everybody. So we'll talk about that too a little bit. But I do have a question that I like to ask everybody before we kick this show off here. And there's no wrong answer. And I know that you'll have an awesome one. On the hard days, because everybody gets those, and especially 3 times going through cancer, I'm sure you experienced a couple rough days. On those rough days, how do you still maintain hope?
You know, and again, thank you so much. That's a really important question because I think sometimes we think, well, we can't have those hard days. We have to just push on through, right? Give yourself the grace to have that hard day.
Yeah.
And know that it'll get better. And if there's an issue, then, you might need to talk to your doctors about it. But
Sure.
yeah, just give yourself the grace to say, nope, not going to happen today. I need a nap. Not, whatever it is, and know that it'll be okay. It really is okay to just have a bad day or two.
Yeah, I totally. And it's so funny. That reminds me of a guest that I had on a few months ago, and he was on the show on behalf of his daughter, who I'm trying to remember if she was autistic. Forgive me. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you see me talking about this. I apologize. But I think it was autism, and she they had an incident where she was going to dance class or something, and something fell on the floor and broke or something, and she kind of startled and they got in the car, and the dad was looking back very apologetic. Man, I'm so sorry, man. I know this turned into kind of a rough day. Sorry about that, sweetheart. And she looked right in her dad's eyes from the back seat in the car and said, "Dad, that was just a rough couple of minutes. The day's fine." She's like, "We still got the whole rest of the day, Dad."
Right. Hopefully she got him to go take her for ice cream. Right?
I think they actually did. Yeah, that would have been the perfect way to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. So I've never forgotten that. I'm like, well, yeah, of course. It's just your whole day is 24 hours, man. The whole day isn't ruined. Come on.
Right.
Come on. So, all right, let's dive in, man. Cancer is a big thing that a lot of people talk about, but I'm excited to bring you into the forefront to talk about it because you've got definitely some different perspectives. So when you were first diagnosed, like, because how many? 3 times, right?
3 times.
Right.
Because I am the overachiever.
I would probably say that. Yeah. on the first time around, what was, because that's the most
Mhm.
impactful one, right?
Right.
You get that first time and it just hits
Yeah.
you like a paddle in the face, right?
Right. Yeah.
What was the emotional impact? Like, what did you, obviously nobody could see. It's all
Right.
invisible at first, right?
Right. Oh,
So
yeah.
what
Well,
was that like?
and it really was invisible.
Yeah.
So I went for my annual checkup, like good little girls do, and had my mammogram. And they called and said, you need to come back. And now I worked for the American Cancer Society and I worked for an oncologist. And so I thought,
Hmm.
ooh, danger, danger.
You've heard
Um,
those words before. Yeah.
Yes, right. I know what and so I went back and so what I was diagnosed with, no lumps, no bumps, really, things like that. I had microcalcifications.
Oh,
They're so small, the computer saw them. And this is before AI, right?
yeah.
Um, and so the computer saw them, and I did the thing I tell people not to do. I went to Dr. Google, and because I'd never heard the word microcalcification. And it was okay. It didn't scare me. In fact, it reassured me
Yeah.
because it said that women, all women of a certain age, as we age and the hormones in our bodies change, we get these things.
Okay.
Now, mine had decided to have a party and gather all in one spot. And that was what the problem was. But I was still just diagnosed with stage 0. They said, this is not going to be a big deal. In fact, I didn't get an oncologist.
Oh, wow.
And so for a couple months, I had a surgeon and we did a couple really fun tests. And then she said, you know what, let's pull some lymph nodes. Let's just make sure that there's nothing going on. And
Yeah.
so I'm in recovery and she comes in and she says, well, 8 of 12 lymph nodes were positive for cancer, which
Oh,
meant I went from stage 0 to stage 3, just right. And then several months later, we revised that diagnosis to stage 4. And so my technical diagnosis is stage 4, triple positive metastatic breast cancer. And stage 4 is not considered curable, but I hit my 10-year mark a while ago, and which is a really good thing.
yeah.
And so who knows? But yeah, and so it was kind of weird because it trickled in as opposed to you have this and
Yeah.
it's very serious. But yeah, when she said, hey, you've got stage 3, I said, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that.
What? Yeah.
I was like, and she looked at me and, like, well, honey, you're going to have to make time. And I did. I mean, not obviously. But yeah, it really was. But I still, it was like, really? No, no.
No, no thanks. I'll
Right.
pass.
Because I felt
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Right. That was the thing.
Well, I mean, there's people. I get this all the time and a lot of people that are on the show get this too. It's like, well, you look fine.
Oh, yeah.
You look fine.
There can't
Well,
be anything wrong with you.
right.
Mhm.
Well, and especially when you go to the doctor,
Right.
this is
Yes.
kind of the infuriating part is
Mhm.
when people go, not necessarily, maybe not cancer,
Mhm.
maybe not hydrocephalus, but
Mhm.
things like fibromyalgia or chronic
Right.
fatigue syndrome
Yeah.
or endometriosis, right? They'll go to the doctor and
Mhm.
they can't find they can't find any obvious
Mhm. Right.
diagnosis that has a
You don't
name
have a
already
broken
attached to
limb.
it. Or more importantly, they can't
Mhm.
find a medication they can
Right.
prescribe for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they just say, you're fine, go home, take an aspirin,
Mhm.
take a nap,
Mhm.
don't bother
Right.
me, you
Right.
know. And
Back to
I'm
what you're
not
saying,
trying
it's
to
in
throw
your
anybody
head.
under the bus here,
Mhm.
right? It's
Mhm.
all in your head. I'm
Mhm.
not trying to throw any medical people
No.
under the bus. Like I
No.
wouldn't, neither
Mhm.
one of us would not
Mhm.
would be
Right.
gone,
Mhm.
would not be here
Mhm.
without,
Oh, yes.
wonderful
Oh, yeah.
surgeons and
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
At the same time, there is some really dumb stuff that gets said
Mhm.
in some of those offices.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're done. Well, I would just look at them and like, really? Yeah,
You said that out loud, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Was that your out of head voice? Did you know you were speaking with your out of head voice?
right? Yeah.
Um, I had one of my doctors, and I have a plethora.
Sure.
He shook his. Now he was a specialist. He was a GI
Okay.
specialist for
Yeah.
an issue that came along later, and I was. Now you can tell I like to talk,
No.
right? I know,
You
and
and me both. I
I
know this.
know.
I knew this
Yeah,
could be
kismet,
dangerous with both
kismet,
of us
yes.
on.
And so, I go to see this doctor for the first time. I knew I had gallstones. I'd been to the ER. We had the ultrasound, all this stuff, and and it's like just no. And so, but I started to tell him about all of the surgeries that I had because my first round of chemo, caused such a catastrophic reaction that I went into septic shock. And so I've
Whoa.
had lots of surgeries and things after that. And so, I'm in with
Wow.
this GI, and I start to tell him my sad tale of woe. And he shook his finger at me and he said, "You don't talk, you just listen."
Oh, okay.
Over well. And so I did okay. And he tells me what 99.9% of the time would be valuable information, right?
Okay.
We just want to, let's see if we can change your diet. We don't want to go to surgery as the very first alternative. And I let him get through all that. And then he says, "Now, what do you think?"
Yeah.
And then I'm 12, right? And I said,
Right.
"You told me not to talk."
Ah.
And he was kinda like, "Oh, oh, oh." And I said, "You clearly didn't even look at my chart because I've had multiple abdominal surgeries.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I have an ultrasound that shows really big gallstones. They're not going away." And he just, so the funny thing is he tells me, "Okay, do the diet, yada yada, come back in a month." I go home, I call my surgeon. I have my own surgeon.
Yeah.
And I go in, he looks at the ultrasound and he looks at me, he says, "What you doing on Monday?" I said, "Get my gallbladder out." He said, "Yeah." So, I get my gallbladder, I go back to that doctor who shook his finger at me. And he said, "So how are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great. I feel fabulous." And so he's going to take the credit for it, right? I knew if you just followed my instructions and yada, yada, yada. And I looked at him and I said, "Once again, you did not look at my chart before you came in here because I don't even have my gallbladder." And I
Right.
got up and I walked out. I was like, "You putz."
See, we talk about this a
Mhm,
lot with
mhm, mhm,
with my co-host that's
mhm,
on twice a
right,
month with me and with countless guests that are
mhm,
on with me
mhm,
over the last 3 years. We have talked about this at
mhm,
length.
mhm.
Doctors, they're just practicing. They
Right.
don't know
Mhm,
everything. And like I said before, like I'm
mhm.
not throwing anybody under the
They're
bus.
busy
But
people.
if if
Mhm,
you don't like
mhm,
what the doctor,
mhm,
if we do it in every
mhm.
other area of life.
Yes.
If you don't like the job the mechanic is
Mhm,
proposing to do to your
mhm,
car, you get a
mhm.
second opinion.
Yep.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
same thing, you don't like the
Mhm,
haircut, go
mhm,
to another
mhm.
person.
Yeah.
But when you
Mhm,
get that white
mhm,
coat syndrome
mhm,
in your
mhm.
brain and go, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
say
Well,
anything
you
negative.
must know everything because you've been to school for 900 years.
Fire that guy
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
move on.
I
Like,
fired 4 during
yeah,
this
there you
process.
go.
And it wasn't that they were bad doctors. It
No,
was that
no.
they just weren't the right doctor for me.
They were bad listeners.
Yes.
It
Well,
sounds
one
like.
one didn't like my sense of humor, and it was like, "Oh, honey, we're really not gonna get along."
Oh,
Yeah.
man, you know what? That
Mhm,
reminds me,
mhm.
I had a neurosurgeon, his name was Doctor Witt, W-I-T-T,
Oh, I
and
like that.
he was fan-freaking-tastic. He was the one that did the 2 brain surgeries in a
Mhm,
row in
mhm,
2014,
mhm,
and, oh my lord, he was awesome,
mhm,
and he was one of the fu he was one of he had, like, the driest sense of humor.
mhm.
I have never
I love
like,
it.
I have had the greatest like, I've
Mhm,
had 1, 2, 3, 4 brains
mhm,
4 neurosurgeons,
mhm,
4 or 5 neurosurgeons over my lifetime,
mhm.
and every single one of them have been just awesome.
Right.
And I know that I am in the minority
Mhm.
there because
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories
Mhm.
about people, going to these surgeons.
Mhm.
And so it's it's so crazy.
Mhm. Yeah. One of my doctors that I fired was a general surgeon, and he saved my life. He is who
Okay.
saved my life when I had septic shock.
Yeah.
And then he did another surgery that was 7.5 hours long. He had to tap out. He couldn't finish it.
Wow.
Um, but there was a reason that man dealt with people who were unconscious. It was just, and it was like, "No, I am not gonna deal with you." And he was gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially when you have some type of long-term or chronic illness, your team has got to be
Oh,
people that now, you don't
yeah.
always have to like them, but you have to trust them. And,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah, you gotta trust them, and
Mhm,
you
mhm,
gotta know, you gotta
mhm.
trust that they
Right.
have your best interest
Mhm.
at heart.
Right,
And
right.
if you get the
Mhm,
picture that they don't,
mhm.
bye. Don't
Yeah.
let the doorknob leave a lasting impression,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I had one guy in 2013
mhm,
that, at the hospital I was in the ER because
mhm,
I ended up having it was all the scar tissue in my body
mm.
that had built up
Yep.
over the
Mhm,
surgeries over the
mhm,
years, it blocked off my intestine.
mhm.
So I'm not going to describe this because
It
Deb,
hurts.
you
We'll
know,
just say it
you know
hurts.
what it is,
Yeah.
and everybody out there can just look it up. But
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had the displeasure of having an NG tube for the
Mhm.
first time. And for
Mhm.
anybody that doesn't know what that is, look
Ow,
it up.
ow, ow,
It,
ow.
it could be qualified as a viable torture technique to get
Yeah.
information out of terrorists. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
yeah. Yeah.
And I've had
Oh,
two.
yeah. Oh, I beat you. I've had 3.
I The
I
first
had
one was terrible. The
yeah.
second one,
Mhm.
they did
Mhm.
numbing, and then
Mhm.
they did the on
Mhm.
the throat, and then I
Right.
drink
Yeah.
water through a straw. But
Yeah.
the first
Oh, yeah.
time, he just said, "Sorry, this is gonna suck,"
Mhm.
and just went
The
for it.
the
So
first time they're trying, and I'm in ICU when they're trying to do
yeah,
this.
I was in the
Yeah.
ER. Yeah.
And the nurse was she actually is talking to the other nurse. So it was a nurse putting it in. I'm not
Woo.
quite sure that was kosher,
Yeah.
but she also says, "This is the first time I've done this."
Oh, no.
And oh
Surprised
yeah.
she said that out loud ahead of time.
And and I swear to God, she put that tube up into my brain. And and I, like I pulled away and I wouldn't let her touch me. And then she cried and I was like, oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
And then the second time it was not pleasurable. The
Mhm.
third time somebody said, hey, we can use Novocaine. And I'm like,
Right?
seriously? And then when
Hey.
they needed to do it again, my surgeon, the man that I love and am devoted to, said, why don't we just do a GI tube and just go in directly?
Yeah. Like that.
That was the greatest thing in the world. I had this little
Right.
tube coming out of my side, and it was perfect.
That's the kind of thing where you go, I was trying to remember what the movie is, but there's a line in a movie that I use all the time. It's like, we could have used that kind of thinking earlier,
Yeah,
like, where were you yesterday?
mhm,
You know?
mhm,
Yeah,
right,
that's
mhm,
it, it is all about the bedside manner,
yeah,
baby. I'm telling you what.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So but anyway, yeah, so it can be interesting when
Yeah,
you're
we freaked
dealing with
everybody out.
well, well, and here's the thing
Mhm,
with all the surgeries you've had, with
mhm,
all the surgeries
mhm,
I've had,
mhm,
with so hydrocephalus is
mhm,
is the main condition that
mhm,
I have had the surgeries
mhm,
for. Every single one of my
mhm,
15 surgeries, which I know
mhm,
you've got me beat on that too, but the 15 surgeries starting at 2 weeks old
mhm,
and going through
mhm,
2022, every single one of them have been influenced
mhm,
directly or indirectly by
mhm,
hydrocephalus,
mhm.
right? And
Right.
so it's like, oh, it's a gallbladder surgery, but
Mhm,
instead of having to just make one
mhm,
neat little,
mhm,
unobtrusive laparoscopic
mhm.
whatever, they end up going in 4 different places because I'm held together with scar tissue,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
tore a hole in
Bubble
my
gum.
intestine, and
I think I'm stuck together with bubble gum.
I'm pretty sure. So
Mhm,
I'm so
mhm,
even that was,
mhm,
and the recovery was
mhm,
awful, and
mhm,
so I mean it's when so all I'm saying is everybody out there with an invisible condition,
mhm,
it can affect
mhm.
so much that not a
Right.
lot of people
Mhm,
understand. It's like
mhm,
I didn't think it would wreak havoc on my
mhm.
gallbladder surgery,
Right. Oh,
but
yeah,
it sure did,
yeah.
you know.
Well,
And so yeah,
I had a bad tooth. Now the tooth is far away from everything else,
right?
right?
Yeah,
But, long story short, one of the drugs that I take caused osteoporosis, which
oh,
caused a problem with my jawbone, right?
sure.
And I had to have this tooth pulled. But this was not, hey, we're just gonna pull the tooth. This was general anesthesia, lots of stitches, all sorts of stuff
Yeah,
for my tooth.
right.
And the oncologist had to sign off on it and all this stuff. And I'm like, ugh, can't we just like tie a string and shut the door, and
Ah!
all that? And it was like, oh, for God's sakes. But then, of course, now you'll love this. I took my own stitches out.
Oh, me
You know?
too. I've done that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I don't touch the staples. I let them take those
No.
out.
Yeah,
I'll
because
let
those,
I've
they're
had plenty
really,
of those too.
mhm,
But
mhm,
I've honestly thought about just bringing one of those staple removers
yeah.
to the hospital next time, you
Mhm.
know?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's
Mhm,
a thing. I think my
mhm,
wife actually the last brain
mhm,
surgery I had,
mhm,
I've got a big old like
mhm.
hook shaped
Yeah.
scar right here by my
Mhm,
right ear,
mhm,
and
mhm,
she took out some of the scar tissue
mhm,
from there at one point,
mhm,
or some of the stitches. I'm
mhm,
sorry,
mhm,
and was just picking them out of there. I
mhm,
was like, "Yep, that's good. Yep."
mhm.
And of course, some people are hearing that, getting the heebie-jeebies, going,
I know.
"Ooh," but you and I both know that
Mhm,
after that many surgeries,
mhm.
your pain tolerance is through
Oh,
the
yeah.
roof,
Oh, yeah. And
right?
then you add in that I'm a redhead, and so genetically, I
Oh,
have a different pain level.
Oh, okay. I
Yep.
didn't realize that.
Yep. Yeah,
Is that
there's
a thing?
it is a thing, and like
Okay.
Mayo Clinic, real people have studied this and have
Okay.
discovered this. So, and I am a blue-eyed redhead, so I'm
Oh,
less than
wow.
1% of the population. So
That is different.
I'm a
Yeah.
unicorn.
Yeah.
But we need more anesthesia. It wears off faster, and
Oh,
we have a higher pain tolerance level. And it's
yeah.
not really higher, it's a different pain level.
Yes.
But yeah, and so they do have to give me extra anesthesia. And like even like I said, just basic dental work, I have to have extra Novocaine and things like that because it will wear off quickly. And then I'm like, hello, hello.
See, one time about 15 years ago or whatever it was, I had some dental work done, and they had to, I don't remember what it was, veneers or something, and they said, well, we need to do something, and they said, well, sit down in the chair, we'll shoot you up, we'll see you in a little while. I said, no, just do it.
Yeah.
I was like, what? They said, what are you, crazy? I said, no, just do it.
Mhm.
And they did. They didn't shoot
Mhm.
me up with anything. They just did it. And I
Mhm.
walked out of there,
Mhm.
half an hour later. They're like, what is wrong with this guy?
Mhm.
You know,
Well, and
but
and
it's,
part of it too is we
oh
learn to breathe through it, right? There are
my gosh.
certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so my second cancer was basal cell carcinoma, which
Oh,
sounds
wow.
horrible, right? Ah, it's your
I,
basic skin cancer.
yeah. But it
Yeah,
sounds
it
scary. They
sounds
make it sound
horrible.
scary.
And
Yeah.
I didn't even have a stitch. I mean, it was so small that he just burned it
Wow.
off. But I had another spot on my back last year or so. And I went in and I now go in every 6 months and I do the
Sure.
strip and
Sure.
spin and he tells me stop calling it that. And I'm like, but I strip and I spin. Um, and so he said, I don't think it's anything. He said, but let's just go ahead and burn it off. He said, hang on, let me go get the Novocaine yet. And I said, nah.
Nah.
And he said, really? You're gonna do this without? And I said, yeah. And I flinched, and I'm not gonna it hurt,
Well,
but the
sure.
shots and all that other stuff hurts more.
Well, yeah. I'm telling you, it's all relative, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever, so two things. There's a comedian by the name of Brian Regan that
Mm,
if you're familiar, if you're not,
mm.
look him up.
Okay, okay.
When David Letterman was on the air,
Uh-huh.
Brian Regan had the most guest appearances of any
Oh,
comedian
okay,
in the history
okay.
of David Letterman. He is awesome.
Mhm, mhm,
He has a blurb out there. If you just Google Brian Regan,
mhm,
Regan, Brian Regan,
mhm,
emergency room,
mhm.
you will thank me. You will laugh until you cry.
Oh,
It
good.
is the most. It is because you will be able to relate
Mhm,
just like I
mhm,
do to
mhm.
so much of what he says
Right.
there.
Mhm,
But there was a guest that I had on there, so that one's for free, everybody.
mhm,
But there was a guest I had on that she was a hypnotist, and
mhm,
she actually they found a thing kind of like what you were saying the second
mhm,
time. It was like
mhm.
this tiny little
Right.
spot
Mhm,
right on her back or whatever it
mhm,
was, and
mhm,
and they're like, well, here comes the anesthesia and all
mhm,
that. She's like, no, I'm
mhm,
just going to put myself in a deep
mhm,
hypnotic
mhm.
trance, and then I won't have to worry about anesthesia,
Right.
right? And she did, and for like
Mhm.
2.5 hours they were back there doing stuff,
Wow.
but she was
Mhm,
just in this,
mhm.
you know
Yeah.
trance.
Mhm.
And then when they got done, they kind of like, I don't know how they snapped her out of it, but they snapped
Yeah,
her
she
out of it.
must have told him before the
Yeah, or
magic word
something.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't
Mhm,
remember the all ins and
mhm,
outs of it all, but yeah, but then she snapped out of it and
mhm.
she went home. Like she didn't
Yeah.
have to stay and
Oh, yeah.
recover and
Yeah,
things.
because
It was like, okay.
anesthesia is really hard on a
It
body.
can, yes, it
Ah,
can be.
ah.
I mean, those two brain
Mhm,
surgeries right
mhm,
back to back in
mhm,
2014 that I had. I mean, I was under for probably, you can relate. I
mhm.
was under for probably 17 hours total,
Wow.
within
Mhm,
24 hours,
mhm.
two brain surgeries within 24 hours.
Yikes. Mhm,
It's insane. It
mhm,
took
mhm,
me, and I didn't know what I know
mhm,
now about
mhm,
how to get rid of that
mhm,
anesthesia
mhm,
from your system, but at the
mhm.
time, it took me almost a year
Yeah.
to get to like
Yep.
get all that
Oh,
out and
yeah.
like get my brain
Yep.
back. And,
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
crazy.
and what they've told me is for every hour that you're under, it takes at least a week.
Really?
And but you
Okay.
can, there are, fluids, obviously. Fluids are
Yes.
one of the biggest things, and that's just
Yep.
good for you no matter what. It's going to help flush all of that. And then if you are able, move around,
Yeah.
walk,
Yeah.
because that activity is going to do it too. When you're, being the couch potato when you're laying in the chair and not moving, well, of course it's not going to get out of your body.
The circulation, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, the more you move
And I'm not
around,
saying
yeah.
marathon,
Yep.
but
No, but
walk to the end of your block.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of and fluids. I always tell people now, fluids. A ton of fluids before you
Yeah.
have this. Get, aside from anything else, every time they poke you, it's easier if you've had a lot
Right.
of fluids. But yeah, having all that fluid is going to help all of that work its way through your body
Totally.
much faster.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's take a little
You really squirrel.
let's take some nice squirrel for a second. Yeah. There goes one.
I know.
So I wanted to ask you about, so you've got, is it live or live? It's
Live.
the
Because we're
trying not to
living our
die.
life. Mhm.
What?
Living your life is the easy
So,
way to
okay.
think of it.
So TryingNotToDie.LIVE
Mhm.
and YourCancerCoach.LIVE.
Mhm.
Like, let's
Right.
talk about those
Right.
because we've got, and then we've got YourCancerWarrior.com, which is on
Right.
the screen. So
Right.
let's dive into some of
Yeah.
that and see.
Well, YourCancerWarrior.com routes you to those other two sites. It's just a
Nice.
landing page. So that
Perfect.
makes it really nice. You can find those. So TryingNotToDie.LIVE is an initiative that I started, and I don't know that I'd ever make it a nonprofit or anything like that, but it's, and I mean, you have a fabulous one, but I just don't know that I'm that motivated
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
But it is to provide support to anyone who's dealing with cancer, whether they have cancer or they know someone who has cancer. And the name came about from when I was so sick, and my mom came out. I'm an only child, and I was on death's doorstep several
Yeah.
times, and so she came out, and I got the disapproving mother look one time when the hospital staff left, and and she says, "You did not say thank you." And I said, "Oh, for God's sakes, Mom, I'm trying to not die." And then when I was thinking of the name for this, I thought, and I know you'll relate to this. We get so caught up in trying to not die that we forget that we have to live.
Right.
And and it's back to your original question. How are we going to live during that time? And so that's where that came about. And then Your Cancer Coach is the coaching service that I provide to executives who are
Yes.
told you have cancer, and they're like, "No, I don't have time for that." And more importantly, I can't tell anybody. I know I cannot tell anybody because I'll lose my clients, I'll lose my staff, I'll lose my business.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I personally, like, part of me says that's insane. That's nonsense. Why would you not say something? You're not going to lose anybody
Mhm.
if I mean, I've had people that I've interviewed to be guests on the show, and they ended up not being a guest on the show because of that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, if I come on and talk about this, they're not going
I
to
can
want
lose
to
my
hire
job.
me for this because they're
Oh,
going to think I'm not going to be able to do it or what, and I'm like,
right.
wait a second.
Right.
Come
And
on.
instead, you could use it as team building, empowering the people you
Yes.
work with, all of those various things. But, and I was very fortunate. I own my own business. And, when I told my clients, hey, this is, and obviously initially it was not going to be a big deal. And then FUD, I spent over 7 weeks in the hospital.
Woo.
And, but, I knew I would have three possible responses. The first one would have been from my clients, "You can't do the work, go away." Right?
Yeah.
The second one could have been, "We want you to focus on yourself, so we'll go get somebody else."
Right.
I was fortunate. I got the third response from all my clients. "What can we do to help?"
Nice.
But there was that fear of, hey, they're going to tell me, we're just going to go with somebody else for whatever reason, good or bad.
Well, it's understandable, I suppose. But I mean, and by the way, if any of those people that I've talked to that said that to me are watching, I meant nothing by it because I totally understand. I mean, your story is your story.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I worked for somebody else and that was a credible fear, I would do the same thing.
Right.
I would be
Mhm.
definitely second guessing the idea of going on worldwide
Right.
television to talk about my story. So I'm not, but so I don't want to get any hate mail over this, but
Yeah. No. It is a very true.
but it's a big deal. It's a
Sure.
big deal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for sure.
Right.
So what's been your favorite thing that's come out of this? Like what like I'm sure I mean you've helped so many people. What are some stories that you remember?
The friendships that I've made.
Yeah.
And it's funny because and this is kind of a universal thing. When I have talked to people, the people we thought would support us the most ghosted us. right?
Wow.
For
Yeah.
whatever reason, they couldn't deal with their own mortality. They didn't know what to do or say, so they just didn't say anything and disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, and I had some of those. Some people
Sure.
that I had known for 20, 30, 40 years were gone. And they
Wow.
still do not want to know anything about what I'm going through. Because every once in a while I'll test it, right? Um,
Yeah.
but they don't. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But some of the people who I didn't even think knew I existed have been some of my biggest supporters. And
Wow.
it's been, like one of they sent gifts and it was so sweet. I loved every single gift I got. I still have all of it. I still have all the cards, all of that.
Yeah.
And one was a homemade teddy bear from this woman who
Oh,
I only know on Facebook, right?
wow.
And and I mean it's this cutest teddy bear, but the card with it said, "My church choir prayed over this."
Hey.
Now, I spent a good portion of my younger life in church choir. She had no idea that that would be something but yeah, and so, that has a special place where the dogs and the
Yeah.
cats can't get to it, right? Um, but yeah, it's been,
Yeah.
but I think one of the other things that I have really learned is life is short,
Yeah.
and so you have to tell people that you appreciate them. Something bad happens. I mean, most of the time I think, really? That somebody thought that was important. I don't watch the news. I know
Oh,
what's going on. Yeah, but I don't need to focus on it. And so I think the thing is, for me at least, I have really found that there's so much good, and and really life is short. You don't know. I mean, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. So
yeah.
what do I want my legacy to have been?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And well, and you're doing it. I mean, you're getting out there, you're doing it. I mean, you interview people all the time too.
Hmm.
So it's like, there's plenty. I don't think you are ever going to be completely off the grid of anything,
I'll
because
live
you
in
you
the
are
interworlds forever.
you are out there so much that I think, yeah, I don't think anybody is ever going to hear the last of you. So which is awesome. I love that.
Oh,
And
thank
it's
you.
it's
Thank
kind of
you.
like
Mhm.
when you Google your name, right? And
Mhm.
you go,
Mhm.
oh wow, you want
Yeah.
to talk about sober. You just Google
Mhm.
your name. That'll
Mhm.
tell you what
Mhm.
people are searching
Right.
for. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
And I am lucky. I think there's 3 Deb Kriers in the whole world. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I do have my own podcast. I've got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And so if you look for my name, you don't
Exactly.
even find the other people. So I kind of feel bad for them. One's a PR person, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Oh,
sorry."
that's ironic. Yeah.
Oops. Uh,
Well,
mhm, mhm.
maybe they should learn from you, and they can get more PR.
Mhm.
But maybe they should come on your podcast.
That would work.
Um,
That'd be fun. "Hey, Deb,
that'd
how are you?" "Well, Deb, I'm" oh, sorry.
that would be epic. I would watch that podcast in
That'd
a
be
heartbeat.
fun. That would be.
Um,
Mhm,
well, I'll tell you what. I've Googled my name too, and
mhm,
apparently there is some actor
mhm.
named Jeff Pearson that is the exact same spelling,
Oh,
and and looks nothing like me, but apparently he's the first one that pops up. But then
oh,
if you scroll down just a
mhm,
little bit,
mhm.
then you find me. But
You're moving up. You're moving up.
it is fascinating to me. That was the
Mhm,
craziest thing I Googled,
mhm,
and I was like,
mhm.
oh, who's
Yeah.
that guy? You
Oh, yeah.
know?
And
So
we always should do that. I mean, just to see what's out there. One of the things I do is I help people with their LinkedIn profile
yeah.
and things like that. And I had this guy one time who showed me his cover letter that he would send, and I just died. It said, "When you Google my name," I mean, this is in his cover letter. "When you Google my name, which I know you will do, please know I'm not the murderer." It was like, cool, dude. I mean, he
Oh,
said, nip it in the bud, right?
was his name Ted Bundy or something, or like what
It's
was
some,
his what?
oh, it was,
Oh,
and of course, what did I do? I Googled it, right?
of
But,
course.
yeah, it was, and so yeah, Google yourself, just see what's
Yeah.
out there, folks.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
bad thing. So,
It's true. No, nobody wants to like
mhm,
I always wonder when people have like I know somebody whose given name is Siri,
Mhm.
Siri,
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Mhm.
she was born well before Siri that
Uh-huh.
we all know,
Seems like a
um,
copyright issue.
but it's like, what the well,
Mhm.
yeah, my name came first, you back
Yeah.
off.
Mhm.
But, and I know some Alexas, I know some,
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm. Oh,
you
yeah.
just you go, wow, names
Mhm.
are powerful, you
Mhm. Yep.
gotta be
Yep.
careful. So, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
man.
Mhm.
Well, I tell you what, I love what you're doing because there are so many people out there watching right now that probably either, I mean, the 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 group of people that are consistently watching our show,
Mhm.
which I love you, by the way. Thank you. Bring your friends. Bring your friends. Watch has blessed me so much over the last 3 years. Our audience continues to grow, and I love it. And
Yay.
this group of people are in an age demographic
Mhm.
that I know that
Mhm.
there are a
Right.
fair number of
Mhm.
business owners
Mhm. Mhm.
and people that own
Mhm.
companies and that are
Mhm.
in their second
Mhm.
careers and that kind of thing. So this is
Mhm.
a big deal.
Mhm.
So if you all are anywhere close to curious about if Deb can help you in any way, like please scan the QR code. Like
Yes.
seriously,
Mhm.
scan the QR code, get on the horn with her, get on
Mhm.
a Zoom call with her,
Mhm.
and figure this out
Mhm.
because it is. You don't
Right.
have to tell
Mhm.
anybody if you don't want to,
Right.
but man,
Mhm.
just do
Mhm.
something. You
Right.
know.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm not gonna be the, "Oh, poor you."
no, no.
And the health stuff is different. That's not my purvey. But I'm going to talk to you about your business. How are we going to get your business through this?
Yeah.
And
Who's
because
going to handle things?
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
You even
mhm,
when you and I initially talked,
mhm,
it was like,
mhm,
how do you have this in place? Do
right,
you have that in place?
yeah,
Do you have the
right,
like?
mhm,
There's
mhm,
things you can put
right.
in place so that
Which
we're
we
not.
should have in place as business people anyway.
Well, that yeah,
Because,
right.
like I
That's
said, you could get hit by a bus. Or more importantly, you might actually want to take a vacation and not have to check your email and all of those things because you have great people who work for you.
yes,
You hired them because they're smart. Let them be smart.
yeah, exactly. I tell you what, I went on a I went on a vacation with my family. Um, I don't know, several years ago, and I at the time it was before I was doing any of this,
Mhm, mhm,
and I was on vacation, and I was I worked at a place where I was a contractor, and I felt like I had to have my phone with
mhm.
me all the time,
Right.
and it was hard. I
Mhm,
mean, I was in Palm Springs,
mhm,
California, man,
mhm.
gorgeous,
Right.
right?
Going.
The idea is to
Mhm,
relax, right?
mhm, mhm,
And I was there for like a week
mhm,
with the family, and I was so stressed out
mhm,
until the guy I worked with was like, "What is wrong with you?
mhm.
Turn your phone off, man.
Yeah.
I got this."
Mhm,
So
mhm,
that's even as simple as just
mhm.
communicating with the
Right.
other people that you
Mhm,
work with that could
mhm.
help you. Like
Right.
they're dying to
Yeah.
help you.
Mhm,
You know.
mhm. Right,
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah. And it is, I think one of the things that people fear is, well, but what if they decide they don't need me,
yes,
right?
exactly. That too. That
And
too.
okay, well, you offloaded some of your stuff. That gives you time to do other things,
Right.
whether it's business related or personal or whatever. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what about that? If
Mhm,
somebody comes to you and says, "I don't want to tell anybody
mhm,
because I'm in charge.
mhm,
I'm the man.
mhm,
I'm the
mhm,
woman. I'm the
mhm.
CEO. I'm
Yeah,
the, if this
yeah.
place won't run without
Mhm,
me, so I can't
mhm.
say anything."
Right.
Well,
Well,
that's
part
not
of it,
always true.
yeah, part of it is whatever their diagnosis is, right?
Well, sure.
So many times people can deal with cancer or an illness like that, and nobody ever knows,
Right.
and that's fine. But if there are going to be visible signs that something is going on, you want to control that narrative.
Yeah.
Even if it's short,
Right.
you might just say, "Hey, I'm going through something with my health. I'll keep you posted."
Yep.
And that's okay. But if you don't tell people, then they make it up. And
Oof.
they never make it up good. It's like, "Oh,
No.
I don't know. Jeff's coming in late every day and he's looking a little rough. I bet he's drinking too much." Right? And no, it's because
Yeah.
you had chemo, or whatever it is. And so you
Yeah.
want to control that narrative.
Well, and not to mention the telephone
yeah.
game, right?
Yeah. Oh,
You,
yeah.
like everybody
Mhm.
knows the
Yep.
telephone game.
Mhm.
You could
Yeah, by
you
the
could
by the third person, it's
it's
horrible and
totally
awful.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
you don't want to make that, you don't
yeah.
want them making
Mhm.
that up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And we will.
sure.
Especially when now, I mean, clearly you sometimes you look at people and you, oh, they must have cancer, right? When they're bald, right?
Yeah,
But there's also alopecia, there's other things like that. But yeah, you want to control that narrative. And excuse me, most people, we still want to work.
right.
I mean, sometimes you need to, right? You need the insurance. But we also that gives our brains something to think about.
That's exactly right.
Right. And so we want to keep doing as much as we can, but then also realize that there are times where your brain's not going to work right.
Yeah.
I'm still in active treatment. I go in every 21 days. And so I was in a couple weeks ago, and my doctor called a couple days ago. Now, it's never good when your doctor calls. I mean, you know that. They
Right.
caller ID and you're thinking, "Oh, crud."
Mm,
And she said, "Well," she said, "I was just wanting to let you know that your tumor marker was up, which is a blood test."
yeah.
And she said, "You had a scan in December. She said, we can do another scan, or do you want to just wait?" That was one of those stupid things, right? It was like, I don't wait. No. And but this is our voice tag. We're just playing. And so when I finally
Yeah.
talked to her, and I had done the Dr. Google thing, and Dr. Google again reassured me. And folks, don't do Dr. Google, and really don't
Uh-huh.
do AI.
No,
I
the
love
worst thing you
AI.
could do is
Mhm.
go to WebMD. You'll have
Yeah.
15 types of cancer and be
Yeah.
dying by next week if you go to
Right.
WebMD. So
And
yeah.
so, only look up the tiny little thing, or maybe ask AI, hey, I'm considering this treatment. What are questions I need to ask? Things like that. But no,
Yeah.
and so Dr. Google had reassured me that tumor markers can actually go up simply if you have a cold or
Right.
things like that. And so by the time I talked to my doctor again, I had calmed, but I spent probably 3 hours going biggity, 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 biggity. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she said, you're in another week. Let's just redo the blood work.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so and it was funny because I was sitting here at my desk working, and I finally thought, this is a third mistake I've made. My brain is not where it needs to be. And it was one of those where I actually told a couple of people, Today is not going to be a good day." Back to what we
Yeah.
were saying at the very start, right? But yeah, it's one of those. Now, it would have been nice if I could have offloaded to somebody else, but I am kind of a sole proprietor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when your brain is not where it needs to be, it's okay to go, nope, not going to happen.
Right. Well, and sometimes like here's something, and this is very prevalent in the visible or invisible condition world, right? When it's a big deal and it's impactful and it's um, like for instance, my favorite one is this. There's no positive way of saying. There's some things that there's only negative ways to say it,
Mhm.
right? So,
Right.
for instance, you say,
Mhm.
"I have a toothache."
Mhm.
Well, what do you say if your teeth feel fantastic?
Right.
There's no term for that, right?
No.
So in the medical world, there's
Mhm.
so many terms
Mhm.
that are negative
Mhm. Right.
that need a positive
Mhm.
counterpart.
Right.
They just
And
don't have.
sometimes negative is good.
Yeah,
That's very
right.
confusing
That's even
too.
more like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's so much to
Mhm.
navigate, and
Right.
it's so confusing
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mhm.
So anybody that is uh, proverbially banging their head against the wall, don't do that physically, by the way.
Mm-mm.
That's never a good thing.
That's
But
gonna
if you're
cause a different problem.
right, exactly. But if you feel like you've been banging your head against the wall in a
Mhm.
way that is and you just don't
Mhm.
know what to do, you
Mhm.
don't know what you don't know, just scan the QR code and go talk to Deb
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, I mean, you've been through this 3 times.
Mhm.
You've been coaching so many people.
Mhm.
You've been I shouldn't use that word. Do you hate that word as much as I do? Should I use that word, coach?
Well, we say strategic advisor.
Strategic advisor.
Mhm.
She's been
Mhm.
strategically advising people for so long.
Mhm.
Yeah, coach is kind of one of those buzzwords that gets
Mhm.
overused so much. I
Mhm.
every time I say it, I'm like, I gotta kick myself.
But you know what?
But
Michael Jordan had a coach. Tiger Woods had they
I know
all
that's
had
true.
coaches, so
It's
it's not
true.
a bad thing.
It's
Mhm.
not. It's just
Mhm.
I feel like it's
It
just
is
so
overused.
overused.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but we'll just wait for the next
Mhm.
buzzword that's overused and use that next, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But well, I'll tell you what, man, time flies when you're having
I
fun. We
know.
got about 3 minutes
Mhm.
left.
Mhm.
So, what would you, Deb, like to leave with our audience in the next 2 or 3 minutes?
Well, first, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. We have had such a fun chat, and hopefully we didn't
Always.
scare the bejesus out of people, right? Um, but kind of the whole thing going through all of this is you are your own advocate. You absolutely have to be your best advocate. And if for some reason you're not able to, then you need somebody who can. But yeah, don't be scared of that white coat. Don't defer to that white coat. All of those, you are in charge. I chose the traditional route of chemosurgery radiation. About killed me, but I really would do the same choice. But if you think that's not going to work, then don't do that. Or
Yeah.
if you want the combination, I mean, all sorts of things. You are in charge of you, nobody else. And just always remember that.
I love that. It's true, man. That's a story of our life between 2014 and 2021, man. Is, the doctor would say something, we're like, thank you very much. We're going to go looking on the alternative world, And
It's okay to tell them no.
Oh,
When I was
totally.
in the last time, I got I whined, and I don't normally whine, and she gave me 3 prescriptions, and I should have known there was gonna be a problem when the pharmacist had to give it to me, not the pharmacist tech.
Ooh,
And so I
yeah.
get home, 10 pages worth of precautions, and I thought,
Oh,
"Oh, I ain't
Lord.
taking any of this."
Oh, yeah.
And I told them, I said, "I'm not taking any of this."
Uh-oh.
And they said, "Well," I said, "No, no, not taking any of it." I said, when one entire page was, "This could cause suicide," and I'm like,
Oh,
no, no.
jeez.
But yeah, they said, "Well, you whine and you didn't whine. You never whine." And so we got really concerned. I'm like, "Okay, can I just take a leave?" Okay. But yeah, you have to be in charge, and you can tell them no.
That's right. You tell them no
Mhm.
because sometimes they need to hear that once in a
Right.
while.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's you live in your body, not
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
So you are going to know the
And
instant something is
yeah,
wrong. So
and I mean, this is, we are talking about invisible things. Make sure they understand. This hurts. This doesn't feel right. Whatever it is, you
yeah.
need to make them understand. And if they're not, then again, fire them.
Next. Yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly. I love that. And it's I to you and me, this is pretty normal.
Hmm.
Like we know how to do that.
Sadly.
We've had life
Mhm.
experiences
Mhm.
that have forced us
Mhm.
to adopt that
Mhm.
mentality,
Mhm.
and not everybody has. So I
Right.
hope
Mhm.
this is eye opening
Mhm.
and
Right.
ear opening
Mhm.
and whatever else,
Mhm.
to wake you up and
Mhm.
awaken you
Mhm.
to how to do this, because it will only be for your benefit
Mhm. Right.
to do that. So, yep. Well, Deb, I'm so thankful we got to do this. I know it took a
Yes.
little bit to get this on the books, but I am so thankful
Oh,
that we
thank
got to
you.
do
Thank
this. So,
you.
man, thank you so much,
Mhm.
and keep up the good work. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes. Bye-bye.
All right. Tell you what, man, that hour went fast. I don't know. I don't know. Some guests. Oh boy, we just get talking, and all of a sudden, boom, here we are at the end of the hour. So, well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for donating. If you are a donation partner, we love you so much, and we're so appreciative. And I want to make sure that you guys remember this place as well. If you're a networker, man, scan that QR code. You will not regret it. It is truly a never-ending source of referrals. And the last thing, thank you for watching wherever you are watching from. I know that everybody's time is valuable. Everybody's time is your own, and you get to choose what you do with it. So I appreciate you being here with us, and join us for our next show, which will be Tuesday, June 9th. Man, we're already almost creeping up on mid-June. How did this happen? I feel like we just had New Year's. Um, all right. Thank you so much for being here. See you on June 9th. Have an amazing day.